The crystalline spires of the Zephyrian royal palace gleamed under the twin suns, as Riza adjusted his diplomatic uniform for what felt like the 100th time. 3 months into his assignment as Earth's first ambassador to the Zephyrian Empire, he thought he'd encountered every possible cultural misunderstanding. He was wrong. Ambassador Riza. Princess Anna's melodious voice carried a note of skepticism that made his stomach drop. Her iridescent scales shifted from deep blue to an agitated purple as she paced across the ornate council chamber. We need to discuss the biological claims in your species compatibility report. Riza maintained his diplomatic composure, though internally he wondered which particular human trait had caused confusion this time. The Zephyrians were a proud, ancient species who had mastered interstellar travel when humans were still discovering fire. Their mating cycles, however, were strictly seasonal. A 3-week period every 2 years when their entire civilization ground to a halt for reproduction. Of course, Your Highness. Which aspect requires clarification? Princess Anna stopped pacing and fixed him with her luminous golden eyes. You claim humans can reproduce at any time during your year cycle. This is clearly impossible. Riza blinked. I'm sorry, Your Highness, but it's quite accurate. Humans don't have a specific breeding season. The princess's scales flickered to an alarming shade of crimson. You're lying. No advanced species could maintain such chaos. How would you plan resources? Schedule productivity? Maintain social order? Well, Riza began carefully, we've developed various social structures and contraceptive methods to manage. Contraceptive methods? Princess Anna's voice rose an octave. You actively prevent reproduction outside of optimal times. Then you do have breeding seasons. No, Your Highness. We prevent reproduction because we don't have breeding seasons. We can reproduce year-round, so we've had to develop ways to control when we do. The princess stared at him for a long moment. Her scales, cycling through several colors Riza had learned, indicated deep thought. This makes no biological sense. Show me your proof. Riza activated his holographic display, pulling up Earth's biological data. Human females have a monthly fertility cycle. Every 28 days on average. Males are, well, generally ready whenever the opportunity arises. Princess Anna leaned forward, studying the data with the intensity of a scholar. Her scales had settled into a deep gold, the color of fascination among her people. This suggests humans could theoretically reproduce every month? Theoretically, yes, though most human cultures have developed social customs around pair bonding, child rearing, and family planning that make it more complex than that. And your military forces? She asked suddenly. How do they function if soldiers might be distracted by breeding urges at any moment? Riza couldn't suppress a small smile. Military discipline, Your Highness. Humans have learned to compartmentalize quite effectively. The princess's scales shifted to a vibrant orange. What Riza had learned was the Zephyrian equivalent of mind-blown. Your entire species operates under constant potential reproductive pressure, and you still manage to develop faster than light travel, complex societies, and interstellar diplomacy. When you put it that way, it does sound rather impressive, Riza admitted. Princess Anna began pacing again, but this time her movement seemed less agitated and more energetic. Do you realize what this means? Every human achievement, your art, your science, your exploration of the stars, was accomplished while dealing with year-round reproductive capability. I suppose we've never really thought about it as an obstacle to overcome. Obstacle? The princess's scales flared brilliant white. Ambassador, this isn't an obstacle. It's proof of your species' remarkable adaptability and self-control. The Zephyrian Council has been debating whether humans possess sufficient discipline for true interstellar partnership. This changes everything. Riza felt a flutter of hope. The trade agreements and cultural exchange programs Earth desperately needed suddenly seemed within reach. Princess Anna turned to face him fully. I must ask you a personal question, Ambassador. How do you manage it? Living with such biological intensity every day? Riza considered his words carefully. I think humans have learned that our greatest strength isn't in suppressing our nature, but in channeling it constructively. Our year-round reproductive capability may seem chaotic to species with defined seasons, but it's also driven us to create stable pair bonds, complex family structures, and sophisticated social cooperation. Fascinating, Princess Anna murmured, her scales settling into a warm silver. And somewhat humbling. We Zephyrians pride ourselves on our controlled, efficient reproductive cycles, but perhaps there's wisdom in your more spontaneous approach. Different species, different solutions, Riza offered diplomatically. Princess Anna smiled, an expression that involved a slight brightening of her scales. Indeed. And I believe the Zephyrian Empire has much to learn from humanity's unique approach to biological challenges. I'll be recommending full partnership status to the Council. As she moved toward the chamber doors, she paused and looked back at him. One more question, Ambassador. This constant reproductive readiness, does it make humans more emotionally invested in their relationships? Riza thought of his wife back on Earth, of the daily choice to commit and recommit to their partnership. I'd say it makes us more intentional about love, Your Highness. When reproduction isn't limited to a brief season, we have to build relationships that can weather every day of the year. Princess Anna's scales flickered through a spectrum of colors before settling on warm gold. Perhaps, she said thoughtfully, that's the most impressive human trait of all. As the princess left the chamber, Riza allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Humanity had just passed its most unusual diplomatic test yet, not through demonstrations of military might or technological prowess, but by simply being biologically human in all their year-round, chaotic, wonderfully adaptable glory.